Millions of truck owners are driving vehicles that could suddenly break down at any moment, and they don't even know it. For many years, GM and Chevy have been trying to cover up a ton of issues with their V8s, including but not limited to lifter failure, engine oil consumption, and even transmission issues that affect all powertrains. The NHTSA recently announced that they have opened up a preliminary probe into over 877,000 vehicles built by GM after receiving several reports of engine failures. The issue involves bearing failure in the L87 V8 engines, mainly in its pickup trucks and larger SUVs like the Tahoe and the Suburban. The issue with these V8s is that it could actually lead to complete engine seizure or even breaching of the engine block. That's a big hole in the side of the engine block for those who don't know what breaching means. This investigation actually covers a huge amount of GM and Chevrolet vehicles. This includes the Chevy Silverado, GMC Sierra, Chevrolet Tahoe, Chevrolet Suburban, GMC Yukon, and Cadillac Escalade trucks and SUVs from model years 2019 all the way to 2024 equipped with the L87 V8 engine. In this video I'm about to show you, it is pretty typical of what one of these engine failures can look or sound like. We're having to tear the engine apart on our Yukon in order to replace some of the lifters. Basically, the problem that I was having is not with the active fuel management or the DOD, which is another problem, but if you hear this, that is the sound of a bad lifter. According to the NHTSA, which is the auto safety regulator that looks into things like this, people who complained reported a bearing failure. Now, this bearing failure could actually result in total loss of power or movement in the engine, which actually leads to a potential increase in crashing. I mean, if your engine locks up and your wheels start spinning or just something happens, or the driver of the car panics while this engine is failing, then obviously that could easily lead to a crash. The problem is, they didn't have any detectable problem. It means like they didn't really hear any problem, no ticking noise or anything coming up. The engine just all of a sudden grenaded. So, because you could lose power and potentially crash, that's why the NHTSA actually jumped in to investigate this. Now, a lot of people are saying that they think it has to do with the active fuel management system and the cylinder deactivation in a lot of these modern V8 trucks. The lifter issues in this engine are caused by one major thing, and that is GM's cylinder deactivation technology, also known as active fuel management or, in later years, what this engine has, dynamic fuel management. Unfortunately, the other V8 available in these trucks, the 6.2L, is also suffering from these lifter problems because, well, it also has dynamic fuel management in it. This failure is actually very expensive to fix. One guy did a breakdown. If your engine obviously doesn't grenade and explode, you would need an entirely new engine. But if you start hearing a ticking noise, they actually broke down what it would cost from a dealer to fix and also if you did it yourself. The main killer here is you're going to be looking at $5,370 for labor, and so that's what's going to be the most expensive part of this job. The labor is going to be more expensive than the parts. With all this, their total for parts as it came down here, they were looking at $2,198, and then the labor $5,370. So their total was $7,568.90 to basically put in 8 of the new lifters. So, they didn't put in all new lifters. They kind of did just what they needed to and maybe some recommendations. Now, this is not a new issue for any of these GMC or Chevy trucks, Tahoes, or Suburbans. It's actually been ongoing for a while, and there's been a class action lawsuit against engine failure for years. When you spend a crap ton of money, sometimes $75,000, $85,000, or $90,000, on a new truck, you expect it, with modern technology, to be more reliable. But with modern engines, that's just not the case. As an example, here is a 2025 High Country, more of a city-style trim level, and it does have their 6.2L Ecotec V8 in the 10-speed auto. This freaking thing is $79,800. And when you're spending that kind of money on a new pickup truck, you expect it to last. The Suburbans and Tahoes are no exception to the crazy prices either. This Suburban right here is $81,175. And then if you wanted something cheaper, like this Tahoe, this one right here is $69,500. When you're paying that much for a vehicle, you just expect it to work and not have complete engine failure with only a few thousand miles on it. Engine failures in modern vehicles are becoming more and more common, and manufacturers keep adding more electronic junk to engines in the name of fuel economy and emissions. It's really unfortunate that Chevy and GMC have had so many big issues with their V8 engines because other manufacturers really had more reliable V8 engines. For example, this is the last generation Tundra right here with one of the older V8 engines, and that would be the 5.7 Li Force V8. The engines in this previous generation Tundra were V8s, and they would just last and last forever. Some people reported 1 million miles on these trucks with just regular maintenance. Actually, Toyota bought one of those million-mile trucks and put it in their headquarters to really show off what they could do. Toyota, having a reliable V8 engine, was actually forced to get rid of the reliable V8, and that is where a lot of this technology stuff is not improving things. This is a new Tundra, and funny enough, they're pretty close side by side. There's a Chevy in the middle, so it's kind of convenient for me while filming this. But this is the new Tundra, and they've had nothing but problems with the twin-turbo V6s with all of the modern systems to try to improve fuel economy and reduce emissions, throwing on turbos, etc. So, Toyota went from a super reliable V8 to a modern twin-turbo engine that just continues to fail. What's happening? What if the truck you trusted could fail catastrophically without warning? For many years, General Motors, or GM, has been a name synonymous with dependability, power, and innovation. Their trucks and SUVs, especially models like the Chevrolet Silverado, GMC Sierra, and Cadillac Escalade, have been advertised as icons of American engineering. But recent revelations have cast a dark shadow over this storied reputation. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, has opened a preliminary investigation into a staggering 877,000 vehicles produced by GM between 2019 and 2024. This isn't just another recall, it's a bombshell. At the heart of the investigation are GM's L87 V8 engines, found in some of their most popular vehicles. These engines, featured in models like the Chevrolet Tahoe, GMC Yukon, and Chevrolet Suburban, have been linked to bearing failures that could cause complete engine seizure. For truck owners, this means more than just inconvenience, it's a serious safety hazard. A seizing engine can cause a vehicle to lose power suddenly, increasing the risk of an accident. What's even more shocking is that these failures often happen without any warning signs, no unusual noises, no dashboard indicators. Imagine cruising down the highway in your expensive, state-of-the-art truck, only for the engine to fail completely, leaving you stranded and in danger. For the 877,000 affected vehicles, this isn't a hypothetical, it's a very real possibility. And here's where it gets even worse. This issue can lead to complete engine seizure or even a dangerous crash. But what's causing this massive failure? Let's break it down. The heart of the problem, something most truck owners don't realize, is that their engines could be ticking time bombs. To understand the full scope of GM's V8 engine crisis, we need to dive into the technology behind these engines. At the core of the issue is GM's Dynamic Fuel Management, DFM, system, a feature designed to improve fuel efficiency by deactivating certain cylinders when full power isn't needed. On paper, it sounds like a win-win, better fuel economy and a more environmentally friendly vehicle. However, reality has proven far from perfect. To manage cylinder activation and deactivation, these engines rely on lifters. When these lifters fail, and they frequently do, they trigger a cascade of engine problems. One of the most severe consequences is bearing failure. Bearings are crucial for the smooth operation of an engine, and when they fail, the results can be catastrophic. This includes complete engine seizure or even breaching of the engine block. For those unfamiliar, breaching the engine block means creating a literal hole in the side of the engine, rendering it completely irreparable. Even more frustrating for truck owners is that these failures often happen without warning. Unlike traditional engine problems that may come with warning noises or dashboard alerts, these failures strike suddenly, leaving drivers completely blindsided. The scale of the problem is massive, affecting models like the Chevrolet Silverado, GMC Sierra, and Cadillac Escalade. While GM's engineers may have envisioned the DFM system as a revolutionary breakthrough, it has now become a source of headaches, financial burdens, and safety concerns for owners. This technology, once marketed as groundbreaking, is now responsible for huge repair costs and serious safety risks. And the cost to fix these problems? Prepare to be shocked. One truck that I think is one of the coolest V8 options for the money is the Ram 1500 Rebel. It may not be as reliable as a Toyota V8, but it is still one of the better V8 engines available and definitely not experiencing the catastrophic failures seen in Chevy's newer models. The Ram Rebel features the 5.7L Hemi, and it looks fantastic. The interior is also top-notch. A 5-year-old Ram Rebel with a V8, a luxurious interior, and solid performance is a great option. The pricing isn't bad either. This 2020 model with 45,000 miles is listed at $38,995. That's a great deal compared to the brand new 2025 models, which are switching to a twin-turbo V6. The 2024 models still have a V8 option, but they cost around $75,000. Given the choice, I'd rather pay $40,000 for a used model. These are just a few examples of trucks that I believe are more reliable than the new twin-turbo trucks or even Chevy's troubled V8 models. The fact remains that GM's newer V8 engines, up to the 2024 models, are still experiencing major issues. At the end of the day, when buying a truck, you need to be very selective. Pay attention to real-world feedback from truck owners and avoid the first few model years of new designs. That's it for this one. If you made it this far, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.